Hi, welcome. My name is Jonathan Boyd, and this is Van Gogh Bow. Van Gogh became famous for his paintings, in some cases in natural vistas. It could be a wheat field, or a sunflower, or a chair. And he was also, in my opinion, the originator of the selfie, and I think he would have just thrived in this era where we get to take videos and photos of ourselves all the time. It's bowspring, so we're going to go right into it, into crouching cat position. So put your hands down as wide as your shoulders, step your feet back. It's kind of like downward facing dog, but instead of downward facing dog, you move partway forward towards plank position. And in a way, it's just more natural because this is the position we'd be in if we eventually were to move around the room like this. So bowspring, seeking more natural, more animal, and less mechanical. And one way to test that is to literally lift one hand, cup the back of your head, pause and hold here, lift your sit bones high into the air, then lower your hand and switch sides. Lift your left hand, cup the back of your head. Level 3 is to lift both hands and cup the back of your head. Probably not going to happen. I'm just joking. And now step or hop your feet forward to the front of your space. On an inhale, rise up, place your hands to your knees and pause. Push your knees forward into your hands. As you do that, move the tops of your thighs back so you create a little arch in your low back. Then float your arms forward. Touch the tips of your fingers together for globe hands. Take a little step forward with your left foot. Push the foot forward in front of you so you can move your hips back, and then drag your foot back to feel more tone through the back of your leg as you lift it into the air behind you and tilt forward. As you tilt forward, you're welcome to create a little bit of a pulse up and down with your standing leg. Then step your foot back at about a half distance as a classical lunge. And then in this position, bend both knees, put your hands to your knees, push your knees forward into your hands, but move your hips back. So again, you create the little arch in your low back. You can also perform a mood enhancer. That's where you take both hands, grab both cheeks and lift them up, not these cheeks. Then go back to globe hands position, touching the tips of your fingers together, and twist towards the right. So tilted forward. It's not as deep of a twist without the hook of your elbow to the thigh, but you can test your balance in other ways by lifting your front heel or even closing your eyes. Embrace the challenge and then turn to center. Push off your back foot, lift your left leg up and over your right leg and wrap the foot around, kind of like eagle pose, but instead of wrapping the foot all the way around the calf, just lower the foot to the outside of the right foot. Cup the back of your head, ecstasy arms position. Point your elbows forward. Press your outer knees into each other so your glutes get stronger. And then anchor in your glutes. Inhale and lift your rib cage up. Start to lean it back. And you can add a bit of a pulse here where you lean back on the inhale. And as you exhale, drop your hips. Okay, and now swing your left leg back behind you. Reach back with your right hand, reverse dancer, hold over top the toes and extend your left arm straight forward. Kick your foot back into your hand, bend your standing leg, add some rebounds here to this reverse dancer. That's where you tilt forward, tap the floor, and then come all the way back up. Doing that 2 more times. Tilt, touch, and come up. And again. Tilt, touch, and come up. Next time, hinge forward, bring both hands down, and then hitch kick. Just go foot to foot, coming up a little bit higher every time. You might get to a point where you're getting almost to hover. You could always have the wall as a backstop. I'll show on the second side when we do that. Okay, eventually, just lower down into all fours position, hands and knees. And once you arrive, rise onto your right fingertips, lift your right leg out to the side, and then extend your legs straighter. Ooh, that's a stretch that'll wake you up in the morning. Okay, then bend your knee, lower your knee down, and then switch sides. So go left hand on fingertips, lift your left knee out, keep the knee in line with your hip, if not a little bit forward, And then on an exhale, extend your leg straighter. Woo-wee. Woo. Woo. Okay, and then bend your knee, lower your knee down, tuck your toes under, lift up for crouching cat again. So not down dog, but crouching cat. So chin in line with your wrists, lift your heels, and on an exhale, drop your heels to the right, turn your feet to the left, rise onto your left fingertips, place your right ear towards your right shoulder, move your hips back, push the feet down. Option to even lift your left hand momentarily. It's kind of like having your feet on a tightrope, so they're in line with each other. And then lower your hand and switch to the other side. Turn both feet to the right, rise onto your right fingertips, tilt left ear to left shoulder, push the right hand forward, move your hips back. Option to lift the right arm and reach, extend, lift your chin, smile, teeth. And then hand down. And then having a little bit of fun here, we'll go forward again. You can step forward or you can spring and do cat burglar hop 3, hop forward and back a few times on your mat. And eventually hop all the way forward. Hands to your knees, pause, push the knees forward, move the hips back, get the arch in the low back, place the hands to the outside of your knees, and then cup the back of your head. Arc over to your right. You can even use your right hand to hold the outside of your left elbow. Gently nudge the elbow down as you push the elbow back into your hand. And then come up and arc over to the left. Option again, left hand crosses the face and holds the outside of the right elbow, pulling it down, and then you just resist against yourself, which essentially is living every single day, it seems like. Okay, come all the way back up. Go to globe hands position. Take a little step forward with the right foot, tentative steps. Push your foot forward, and the act of pushing your foot forward can help to define your groins as the groins go back. Then pull the foot back. Feel the back of your leg get stronger as you then drag it back and lift it behind you. Tilt forward. It's bowspring airplane, and because of the bent knee position for both legs, it starts to look a little bit more like a propeller position of airplane. Option to create a little bit of a pulse. And then step back, short lunge, so the distance instead of that long is that long. Move your hips back, big breath in. Option to go hands to the knees, push the knees forward, and then what we did on the second time, hands to the outside of the knees, push the knees out like you have a elastic band around your knees to get your legs more fired up and engaged. And then twist towards the left. More natural practice is one that emphasizes the entire body working together versus, say, gym exercises, which isolate one muscle group or one muscle specifically. It's very rare to see a gorilla doing abdominal exercises or a cheetah stretching before it sprints. Turn to center and then push off the back foot. Lift your right leg up and over. It's kind of like eagle, but bowspring it's just called phoenix, where you can bring the foot down and make a kickstand. So you take the balance out, bend your knees deeper, and then push the outer knees into each other, and that'll get your glutes stronger. Instead of cupping the back of your head, just make fists to the top of your head and feel how pushing your head into the weight of your fists pressing down gives you the sense of lifting the rib cage, stretching the belly, and an option to lean back. So it's a strengthener for the arms, the legs, the glutes, and a stretch to the belly. And then once you stretch the belly, tone it fully, squeeze in, get strong in a long situation as opposed to shortening the abdominals. And then come forward, swing your leg back, tilt forward. It's reverse dancer. So left hand holds right foot, kick your foot back, bend your standing leg. That is so tough to do. Notice the challenge of this sequence. And then 3 times. Tilt forward, touch down. If you wobble, that's okay. Shaking is just weakness escaping the body. Touch down. And then one last time. And from here, you can go hands down and hitch kick side to side. I promised I'd show the other side. So you can actually go cartwheel kick, where you go a bit more side to side, as opposed to hitch kicks, which is just kind of switching in the middle. And then if you have a wall behind you, of course, it gives you a bit more courage to go all the way up. And you just have to do that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, lower down onto your knees until you get comfortable. Rise onto your right fingertips, lift your right leg out to the side, and then now lower your right knee and re-lift your leg, and that's all it is. If you want to make it extra spicy, you can cup the back of your head. But I guess it's similar to painting too. If you want to get good at it, you got to do it hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of times. Okay, then lower your knee, lower your hand, rise onto your left fingertips, lift your left leg out to the side. I can remember reading a book by Sir Ken Robinson called The Element, and in it he tells a story of telling this piano player, geez, I'd love to be able to play piano like you. And the pianist, that's a hard word to say, hope the closed captioning got it correct, said, no, you wouldn't. It's like, well, why not? Because you'd have to play 8 hours a day for 30 years. And then Sir Ken Robinson was like, no, I don't want to play that way. Tuck your toes under, lift your knees to hover, turn your knees to the right, bring your left hip down, rise onto your right fingertips, seated side twist. And then switch, pivot on your feet, turn your knees to the left, right hip down, rise onto the left fingertips. Okay, transitioning to the back, reach your arm long, and then without using your hands, try to wiggle onto your back and just navigate your way to the center of the mat again. Lift your feet to about the height of your knees, and then push your hands into your knees and resist back. Find the position where your low back is slightly lifted from the floor. And then lower your left foot flat, hold the back of your right leg, keep the abdominal engagement you create and your low back slightly lifted, and extend your right leg straighter. Push your thigh into your hands, and then keep the engagement of the waistline, bend your knee, and then extend your left leg up, holding the back of the thigh. With your right foot, pull your foot back towards your hips, press the back of the head down, press your upper back down, using the whole body. Don't give up. I believe in you. Okay, then lift both feet to the height of your knees, reach both arms up, move your legs halfway to the right, arms halfway to the left. So it's a twist position, but it's fairly active. It's not just dropping out over and hanging out. Hanging out's nice, but we're working in Van Gogh Bow. And then back up and drop your legs over towards the left, and arms go over to the right. In this case, it's kind of against a wall. Have to adapt. Okay, and then back to center. Just cup your kneecaps, position your knees over your hips. Allow your feet to just flop and dangle. And then as you hold your knees over your hips, gravity works to bring the thigh bones down into the hip sockets. Push the knees slightly into your hands to feel the back of your pelvis get heavier, so that your low back stays lifted away from the floor. And then one by one, slide your legs long for final resting position in bowspring. It is called assimilation, as it's the opportunity to just absorb and take in, to infiltrate all of the new information, but more importantly, just the experience in your body. Did it feel natural? Even the arms alongside you may not be the most natural feeling, and you may prefer to instead just wrap your arms around yourself in a final act of self-embrace, of self-love, in a period of time when hugging has become dangerous. You're always welcome to hug yourself. Please rest as long as you would like. Namaste.